All right, we are almost complete with step 5 of the Passport to Creativity system, which is begin. And hopefully you've already, gotten a lot of ideas from the tools, from gamification, from self-directed learning, deliberate practice, all the things I've shared so far. Hopefully you're going to kind of come together in this last step, which is really to help map a plan for you to be able to achieve your goals and help you discover or rediscover your creativity. And so you basically need 3 things to be able to achieve your goals. 1 is motivation, 2 are the skills, and 3 is time. So I've already talked a lot about motivation. I spent a whole subject on gamification and the ways that motivate people. It's also essentially the first step of my Passport to Creativity system. Understand why you want to be creative or rediscover your creativity, because it's the thing that's going to pull you towards your goals. And so there's definitely different ways. You can obviously have a real vision in mind. You can have something you already want to achieve in mind. That's obviously the best because that really holds on to you and really pulls you towards that. But you can also do things like copy something that inspires you. Great bands do covers, not because they're bored, but because they like the cover. It motivates them, it inspires them, it makes them feel good. And you can do that across any creative endeavor. And the other idea is just to motivate yourself to just learn in general, experiment, just try things out and see where they take you. And just be motivated by learning and seeing and wondering and being curious of what is possible. The next thing you need are skills. You need to be able to have the capacity to achieve your goal the way you want to be able to achieve it. And notice I'm not saying talent because, we've talked about this before, the talent is the absence of resistance. So it's really the skills that you need to be able to learn. And some look like they may be natural for some people, but they're still learnable for others. And some are not as obvious. We've talked about that, where you need to be able to learn how to see what's in front of you versus hand skills when it comes to drawing. And there's different variations of that across the disciplines. And beyond the discipline-specific skills, the obvious ones as well as the hidden ones, or the ones that are less obvious, are general skills like time management or discipline or focus. So there's all kinds of skills that you can learn or enhance to be able to achieve your goals. The third component is time. And it kind of goes without saying, but time is our most important resource. We don't get any more of it. You can't earn more time. Once the time is gone, it's gone. So it's really important to recognize how you use your time and see throughout your week, see throughout your day, are there moments where you're taking time to do things that aren't really all that productive and it's more out of a habit than anything else? Those are your opportunities to be able to leverage towards something like this, where you actually have a goal and you have a plan and you're working towards that and you're growing your skills and you're growing your motivation and you're achieving your visions with that time. So, hopefully I've given you a lot of tools and opportunities to be able to leverage, but ultimately it's your choice. How are you going to use your time? I mentioned this idea of a plan and to achieve your goals. And a plan starts with a goal. What do you want to achieve? And if nothing's coming to mind right away, just try and think of something that is inspiring for you now. Something that if you gave yourself, say, 3 full years to be able to achieve it, you could really rock it, you could really make it awesome. What would that be? Because you want to identify something that is motivating and inspiring and also has several steps to be able to achieve that particular goal. And it's those steps that you can start to identify and be able to figure out what order you need to be able to achieve those steps. But you also have the reason why you're doing the steps with the motivation and the goal, otherwise known as a North Star. It kind of guides you towards that direction. And so now that you have your North Star, you want to, again, kind of understand current reality. What do you already know how to do? What are your current skills? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And then you can identify the gap in between, and that creates this tension that wants to be resolved. So now you want to be able to map out what skills do you need to be able to learn. And then you can break those down into sub-skills. And this is where deliberate practice comes into play, where you can give yourself different kinds of exercises to be able to learn these different skills. You may or may not use a teacher, but the idea is to try to figure out lessons that will motivate you. What can you bring into your lesson that will keep you motivated? Instead of just learning something just for the practicality of it, can you make a miniature project out of it? Can you find something else that you would love to be able to achieve, to be able to keep that motivation going as you're learning? So you have your North Star, your goal to achieve in 2 to 3 years. You have your plan of attack, what skills, what sub-skills, kind of how to break down what you need to achieve into, like a schedule to be able to achieve that. In the meantime, you also want to be able to identify ways that you can motivate yourself and learn and develop your voice by doing things that will kind of constantly expand your creativity, finding, being out there in the world and trying new things, or, getting media that kind of shows you your favorite stuff and kind of helps keep you motivated, and just kind of like learning through what moves you. You can also possibly do things like meditate, which can help you with skills like focus. So there's different things you can do on a more regular basis that can become habits that can contribute towards your learning as well. Just like the creative process, when you're doing an individual project, you can essentially expand the creative process to your entire life. It's all about really, knowing what you want to achieve, knowing where you're at, knowing the steps to get there, and then trusting the creative process. Experiment, try out different things, allow the subconscious to help. Don't judge until it's time to judge. And when you finally have your idea, heads down and execute. So that's the creative process all the way around. And that's the Passport to Creativity system. You understand why you want to be creative. You believe you are creative because you are. You know the creative process itself. You've experienced how it feels to have the nonlinear brain take over. And you've begun. You have a plan of attack and you know where you want to go.